Inflation, a phenomenon that touches every aspect of our lives, from the prices we pay at the grocery store to the interest rates on loans. Today, we'll spotlight the two major contributors to the intricate dynamics of inflation: fractional reserve lending and government deficit spending. These factors, often working in tandem, play crucial roles in shaping the value of our currency and influencing the overall price values in the economy. Are you ready to explore the economic undercurrents that impact your financial reality? Let's start on another episode of Fun with Finance. Imagine a wild, extravagant party called the Fiat Party. Everyone's invited and the currency is the life of the party. But wait, there's a twist. This isn't your regular old-school money, it's fiat currency. What does that mean? We often use the terms money and currency interchangeably. However, they're not the same. Simply put, gold is money and the dollar is currency. While money is the guardian of value and a reliable and timeless store of worth, currency is the facilitator in day-to-day transactions, the notes and coins we use daily, the digits in our bank accounts, and a convenient tool for exchanging goods and services. Unlike money, currency lacks intrinsic value. Its worth is derived from the trust and confidence we place in the institutions backing it. In the fiat currency system, governments declare a currency as legal tender, and its value is essentially a matter of trust in the stability of the issuing government and the belief that others will honor the same currency. In other words, fiat currency is not backed by a physical commodity. Instead, it relies on its users' collective trust and faith. So going back to our analogy, fiat currency is like confetti at this party. Governments can create it out of thin air just like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. They print it, distribute it, and suddenly we've got more bills in our wallets than confetti at a New Year's Eve celebration. It's all a bit of financial magical show, and guess who's paying for the tickets? Spoiler alert, it's you and me. Now let's meet the stars of our party, the triumvirate of finance: governments, central banks, and big banks. They're like the conductors of this financial fiesta, orchestrating the symphony of money and inflation. First up, the government. They're the ones throwing this fiat party. With the power to print money, they can fund their projects, pay off debts, and, let's be honest, maybe splurge on a few unnecessary things. It's like they have a credit card with no spending limit, and guess who's footing the bill? Spoiler alert, it's still you and me. Next, we have the central banks. They're the puppet masters pulling the strings behind the scenes. They control interest rates and sometimes act as the lender of last resort. It's a bit like they're the referees at the financial wrestling match trying to keep everything in check. But let's face it, sometimes they throw a few curveballs just for fun. Last but not least, the commercial and consumer banks, especially the big ones. They're the ones making loans, multiplying the money supply through the so-called fractional reserve lending, and sometimes getting a little carried away with the risky business. It's like they're juggling financial grenades, and we're all hoping they don't drop one. Fractional reserve lending lies at the heart of the inflationary puzzle. It is a banking practice where financial institutions are required to keep only a fraction of the funds deposited by customers in reserve. This reserved amount is a safety net ensuring that banks can meet the immediate withdrawal needs of their clients. But how about the rest of the deposits? Well, that's where the magic happens. Imagine you deposit $100 into your bank account. Logically, you'd think your money is sitting there safe and sound, waiting for your command. Well, think again. In a move that would make a contortionist jealous, the bank can lend out a significant chunk of your money, say $90, without so much as a buy your leave. It's like lending your car to a friend who then decides to take it on a joyride without telling you. Sneaky. Oh, but wait, there's more. The bank doesn't stop there. They leave behind a fancy IOU, which they call bank credit. It's like the bank leaving you a note saying, borrowed $90, will return at some point. Maybe. The fascinating twist is that banks consider that $90 loan an asset on their balance sheet. So they can also lend out a big portion of that $90. The new borrower can now deposit the loan back into another bank. Now, the second bank, following the exact same playbook, can lend out a significant portion of this new deposit, issuing another round of bank credit in the process. It's a financial domino effect, amplifying the money supply each step. This expansion of the overall money supply sets the stage for inflation. As more currency circulates, the purchasing power of each individual unit diminishes. Simply put, if more money chases the same amount of goods and services, it drives prices upward. Think of it like a game of musical chairs where the chairs represent goods and services and the players are the currency in circulation. Introduce more players without adding more chairs and you're left with a scramble, a bit chaotic and, in our case, inflationary. Inflation shows up when there's too much currency mingling around, and prices go up because there's just too much currency chasing too few goods. It's the quantity tango, and we're all forced to dance to the beat of rising prices. That $5 snack you used to love? Well, suddenly it's $7. Inflation sneaks in like a sly pickpocket, taking a little piece of your money each time. Now, this doesn't mean inflation is inherently evil. It's a natural consequence of a dynamic economy. A mild, controlled inflation can stimulate spending and investments, fostering economic growth. The real trouble arises when inflation becomes unchecked, spiraling into hyperinflation, as we've witnessed in historical examples like the post-World War I Germany. In the 1920s, the German mark experienced such rapid devaluation that people needed wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy groceries. Pair fiat-based currency with the concept of fractional reserve lending, and you have the ingredients for the inflationary brew. But that's just one of the contributing factors. Governments have their own role, especially when they engage in deficit spending. A government runs a budget deficit when its expenditures exceed its revenues. The national debt, or the total amount the government owes, arises from various sources, including borrowing to cover budget deficits. When the government needs to borrow money, it issues bonds to a diverse set of investors. These bonds act as a contractual agreement, with the government pledging to repay the borrowed amount along with interest over a specified period. Now here's where the dance begins. These government-issued bonds become part of the broader monetary system, interacting with financial institutions, central banks, and the general public. Banks, for instance, may purchase these bonds as part of their investment portfolio. Individuals and entities seeking a safe investment might also buy these bonds. The issuance of bonds creates a cycle. The government, in essence, introduces more debt into the system, and these bonds become financial instruments circulating within the economy. The continuous cycle of lending, depositing, and relending, coupled with deficit spending by governments, leads to an ever-expanding money supply. As money circulates through the system, it can create the illusion of infinite wealth creation. But in reality, this is more like a perpetual motion machine of debt. Governments borrow, banks lend, and we all keep dancing to the inflationary beat. It's a bit like a never-ending episode of a financial sitcom, and guess who's the star? Spoiler alert, it's still you and me. So here we are, stuck in this cycle of the fiat-based monetary system with fractional reserve banking and deficit spending. It's a comedy, a tragedy, and a drama all rolled into one. But hey, at least we've got a front row seat to the greatest financial show on earth. Beyond the constant forces of fractional reserve lending and deficit spending, various macroeconomic factors intricately weave into the fabric of inflation, although their effects could be transitory. Disruptions in the supply chain caused by natural disasters or geopolitical events can lead to shortages, driving up prices. Expectations also play a role. If people anticipate rising prices, demands for higher wages may set off a wage price spiral, contributing to inflation. Global economic conditions, such as changes in global demand or commodity prices and currency depreciation, which make imported goods more expensive, further contribute to the inflationary landscape. As we conclude our expedition into the intricacies of inflation, remember that understanding these economic forces could empower us to navigate the financial currents more wisely. Armed with knowledge, we can make more informed financial decisions, adapting to the ever-changing rhythms of the economic world. If you found this journey insightful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of finance. Until next time, keep laughing, keep learning, and may your pockets be forever full.